The most dangerous moment for a Special Operations Executive agent in occupied France wasn't the parachute jump or the firefight. It was the simple act of walking down a busy street while a Gestapo officer scanned the crowd for anything out of place. Most people think survival is about firepower or hiding in the woods. But honestly, history proves that the most successful evasion happens right in the middle of the chaos, often in plain sight of the enemy. We are going to dissect the specific, often classified urban tradecraft used by the French resistance and Allied spies to move undetected through lockdown cities, and we will translate those blood-bought lessons into actionable tactics for the modern survivalist. Before we open these archives, make sure you subscribe to Atten Recounts right now, because we are building a community of serious historians and survivalists who understand that the past is actually a manual for the future. True invisibility comes from mastering the psychological art of being unmemorable. The concept of the grey man is often discussed in modern prepper circles, but the SOE agents operating in 1943 took this to a psychological level that went far beyond just wearing bland clothing. They understood that blending in was not about looking invisible, but about appearing entirely normal within the specific context of the environment. If everyone is panicking, a calm person stands out. So agents were trained to mimic the baseline anxiety of the crowd around them without drawing attention to themselves. You can apply this today by studying the baseline behavior of your city during different times of day and actively practicing social camouflage. This means if you are moving through a chaotic urban unrest scenario, you do not walk with the confident stride of a tactical operator. You hunch your shoulders slightly, keep your pace average, and mirror the body language of the weary commuters around you. It is about removing the predator signal from your gait so that anyone scanning the crowd, whether it is law enforcement or a hostile actor, glides right past you because your silhouette registers as non-threatening and unimportant. Navigating a hostile city demands a deep understanding of non-linear movement. During the Warsaw Uprising and the Battle of Stalingrad, movement through the streets became a death sentence due to snipers and checkpoints, so fighters developed the tactic of mouse-holing. This involved blasting or hammering holes through the interior walls of adjoining row houses to move an entire squad from one end of a city block to the other without ever stepping foot on the sidewalk. While you likely won't be using explosives to breach walls in a modern escape scenario, the principle of non-linear movement is critical for urban survival today. You need to map out unconventional routes in your own city that avoid main thoroughfares, such as connecting parking garages, service alleyways, and even publicly accessible basements that link buildings. Practicing this involves physically walking these routes now, identifying which fire escapes are actually viable and which fences have gaps, so that when the gridlocks happen, you are moving through the veins of the city rather than its arteries. Creating secure communication lines and supply caches is critical in occupied territory. Resistance fighters could not carry their entire survival kit on their backs because, well, a heavy rucksack was an immediate giveaway, so they relied heavily on the system of dead drops and cached supplies. A dead drop is a location used to pass items or information between two people without them ever meeting, often using hollowed-out bricks, fake rocks, or magnetic containers attached to the underside of metal street fixtures. You can adapt this tradecraft by creating your own urban caches along your primary evacuation routes. Instead of carrying 3 days of food and water, you can pre-position a small, watertight container with cash, a map, and a backup battery buried in a specific park or magnetically attached behind a guardrail that you know you will pass. This reduces your load and ensures that even if you are robbed or forced to ditch your bag, you have resupply points that only you know about. Surviving interrogation and scrutiny relies on having an unbreakable cover story. When an agent was stopped at a checkpoint, their papers were only half the battle. The other half was their legend, or their cover story, which had to be so boring and detailed that it bored the interrogator into letting them go. The mistake most people make is creating a lie that is too elaborate, whereas the best legends were simple, close to the truth, and backed up by pocket litter. Pocket litter refers to the random debris we all carry. Ticket stubs, receipts, a half-eaten pack of gum that corroborates our story. To apply this, you should curate your everyday carry to support the narrative of who you are supposed to be. If your escape plan involves posing as a construction worker to bypass a cordon, you need more than just a vest. You need a crumpled receipt from a hardware store dated yesterday and the dust on your boots to match. Constructing a solid legend means ensuring that every item on your person tells the same boring, consistent story, giving you the confidence to look an authority figure in the eye and lie without flinching. This level of tradecraft kept men and women alive in the darkest corners of occupied Europe, and it remains just as relevant for anyone serious about self-reliance today. History is filled with these tactical blueprints if you know where to look. If you found this deep dive valuable, share this video with someone who takes their survival seriously and doesn't just rely on luck. We will see you in the next briefing.